Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's kick off today's video with the tale of office warfare, where our OP, sandwiched between fluorescent lights and cubicles, endured a co-worker named Greg, whose thunderous phone calls and blood-curdling chair squeals made every workday feel like torture. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Greg thought his squeaky chair was hilarious. I work in a typical office, rows of cubicles, too much overhead lighting, and just enough politics to make life miserable. My desk sits 5 feet from a guy I'll call Greg. Greg is loud. The kind of loud where you can't even pretend to focus when he's around. He's constantly on the phone, hollering through calls that could be done at half the volume, and every single visitor to our little cube farm gets treated to the same recycled joke delivered at full decibel. It's exhausting. I tried noise-canceling headphones, white noise earplugs, you name it, but nothing can drown out Greg in full performance mode. Worse, complaining's off the table. His boss has a long-standing grudge against me, something about a project years back that didn't go his way, so I'm stuck. Most days I stay late just to get some actual work done after Greg is clocked out and the air finally goes quiet. To make things even more unbearable, Greg loves his chair, loves it. This thing is ancient, chipped, scratched, and broken in all the wrong ways. The casters don't roll, the seat wobbles, and worst of all, it makes this ungodly high-pitched shriek whenever he swivels. I don't mean a squeak, I mean a banshee scream of metal on metal that makes your fillings itch. Greg finds it hilarious. I, meanwhile, find it physically painful. It's like being stabbed in the ear with a cheese grater. Now, chairs in our office are precious. New ones come in about as often as Halley's Comet. If you get a new chair, you guard it with your life. So one night, after another frustrating day of Greg's audio assault, I walked the office and found the new chair not yet claimed by anyone. Pristine, smooth, silent. It was just sitting there by an unused desk, practically begging to be adopted. I swapped it for Greg's relic. Next morning, Greg arrives, plops down, and immediately starts swiveling like a madman. Nothing, just a smooth glide and blissful silence. I watched him freeze, blinking in confusion. He jerked around, trying to coax a squeak. Still nothing. Then he saw it, his old chair sitting just 5 feet away at an unoccupied desk. He exploded. "Who stole my chair?" His voice echoed through the building. He stormed over, reclaimed his scrap heap, and planted himself in it with the satisfaction of a king reclaiming his throne. The next 2 hours were just him grinding his butt back and forth to extract as much noise as possible. I'd had enough. That lunchtime, I went to a nearby hardware store and picked up a small can of WD-40. That evening, I came back after hours with a plan. I carefully flipped his beloved chair and gave the stem a generous coating of lubricant. I hit the casters too, getting them spinning like new. I wiped off all the excess to avoid leaving any traces, didn't want him staining his slacks and getting suspicious. Next morning, Greg comes in, sits down, and immediately tries to do his little squeaky swivel routine. Silence. His head snapped around like he was in a horror movie. He leapt up, stared at the chair, stared at the quiet casters. He sat back down and tried again. Nothing. He kept at it for 5 full minutes, grinding back and forth like he was doing squats. Finally, he gave up, visibly frustrated, and pushed back. The chair sailed. It rolled across the floor like a dream and slammed him right into the new chair I'd originally given him. I nearly choked holding in my laughter. That should have been the end of it, but Greg's stubborn. Over the next few weeks, he kept grinding the chair into squealing again. Every time it started making noise, I'd sneak in after hours and relubricate it. This turned into a game. Greg would coax the squeak back, and I'd silence it, a passive-aggressive war of chair maintenance. 3 months passed. Then, one glorious morning, Greg plopped into his chair, gave it an especially aggressive grind, and snap! The metal stem holding the chair to the base sheared clean through. He dropped like a sack of potatoes, flat on the floor. I had to duck under my desk, biting my knuckle to keep from howling with laughter. The crash echoed, papers flew, and for a moment, the office was still. Greg got up, bruised ego in hand, and silently wheeled over the brand new chair I'd tried to give him months ago. And he's been using it ever since. No more squeaking, just sweet, sweet silence. Sometimes petty engineering wins the war. Sounds like his making noises with his chair was his idea of petty revenge to all the people at work he disliked. So you created a lovely petty revenge while defanging his own chosen method. That's like a double petty revenge. Well played. And our second story. They put my number on every brochure, so I gave callers exactly what they deserved. Mature student, university while paying a mortgage. It means studying is something serious because you don't want to be wasting the effort. Next, a local housing association printed up all their literature with 2 middle digits of their phone number reversed. Or to put it another way, they used my home number. Studying at home day after day calls for broken door locks, windows, leaking pipes. One woman tried to tell me she had the correct number and that I really was the housing association, and that was after I told her about the phone number mix-up. Basically, she called me a liar. I apologized. Why? I don't know, and hung up. A few minutes later, as I was working my way through a study text, another phone call. That woman, again, she told me she'd checked the number and I was wrong. I am that housing association. Clarification. Whoever mixed the middle 2 digits did so on everything. Despite my tale, she insisted I was wrong and that I will put her through to name. Words to the effect of, sorry, no can do, and I hung up. Yeah, she rang back. This time, she was really nasty and threatened me and my employment. What employment? I'm a student at a private house. She was rather fruity in her language, so I decided to stop her once and for all. I yelled at her and turned the air bluer than she had managed. I told her in no uncertain terms that if she called me again, I would track her down and make her sorry she had ever called me. My phone went down. A few minutes later, another call, another woman, but this time some high up from that housing association. She berated me and told me to be more polite to those who called me in error and supply the housing association's correct number, like the first time when that stupid woman had called. As you, dear reader, might imagine, I was just as impolite and direct as I had been with the argumentative woman and added, rather forcefully, that if they print my phone number in error, they are going to reap the rewards of their incompetence. And that is a promise. Oddly enough, they must have reprinted everything, as within a week, the calls petered out. Seriously, with that massive of a screw-up, she had the nerve to berate you? I'd send them a rough estimate of the time spent answering their phone. She confirmed it when she called you, and send them a bill. And our last story. Neighbor kept calling the cops on us until the bear showed up and did some renovating. This isn't about one entitled person, it's about a whole family of nuisances who thought they'd get away with acting like trash until karma literally broke down their door. My sister lives outside a small town in a quiet area with a few full-time neighbors. Most of the cabins nearby are seasonal rentals, which usually means peace and quiet. She and her husband, brother-in-law, have 2 black labs and take pride in their clean yard and calm life. That all changed in spring 2023 when a family of 5 moved into the cabin next door. At first, nothing seemed off, just a couple with 3 kids, but within a week, my brother-in-law started finding candy wrappers, chip bags, and other trash in their yard. He saw 2 boys biking down the road, tossing garbage like it was a parade. The elderly couple down the street confirmed it was the same kids, plus an older girl. Brother-in-law, being calm and polite, went next door and asked the father, let's call him Kevin, to keep the kids from littering. Kevin, a smug car salesman type, told brother-in-law to leash his dogs and that it wasn't his problem. Then he slammed the door and laughed, calling them hicks. A few days later, more trash appeared, deeper into their yard, clearly tossed deliberately. Brother-in-law tried again, but Kevin doubled down, telling him they didn't care and insulting them again. The next day, a cop showed up. Kevin had reported a dog attack, claiming my sister's dog bit someone. Except the dogs go to work with my sister every day. They weren't even home. The cop knew her and called out the lie, warning Kevin's family to knock it off. Things quieted down until the party started. At first they were tame. Then one morning my sister found a full trash bag dumped by her driveway. Brother-in-law set up trail cams just in case. It didn't take long. He caught the kids, including the daughter, on video tossing trash. He turned over the footage to the police, and they issued over $500 in littering fines. The family left quietly for the season, and life went back to normal until spring 2024. This time they showed up loaded. Jet skis, motorbikes, a boat. Brother-in-law, expecting trouble, set up the cameras again. Now the kids were riding dirt bikes up and down the road at dawn, revving and racing, disturbing the elderly neighbors. They avoided my sister's property, but made sure everyone else suffered. They piled up trash behind their cabin until raccoons and skunks tore into it, spreading garbage all over. By July, the parties were back, bigger and louder. Kevin and his wife, Karen, had made friends with the local posh white trash crowd. Cops were called at least 5 times. They got fined again, but didn't care. Then, in September, everything fell apart. My sister came home from work to squad cars and a forestry truck parked near the cabin. She poured herself tea, sat on the porch, and listened to the chaos unfold through the trees. Kevin and Karen were yelling, the kids crying, officers going back and forth. Eventually, one cop came over. Apparently, Kevin and Karen had gone to town for lunch. When they came back, they found their back door smashed in, garbage everywhere, and grunting sounds from inside. Thinking they'd been robbed, they called the police. Turns out it wasn't a robbery. It was a massive black bear. The bear had been drawn in by their rotting trash pile. The forestry team tranquilized it and removed it safely, but not before it had torn through their kitchen, wrecked furniture, and made a general mess of the place. Kevin naturally tried to blame my sister. He accused her of luring the bear and baiting wildlife, but the cop wasn't buying it. If anyone had baited the bear, it was them. Between the litter, the loud parties, and the ongoing mess, they'd created their own problem. My brother-in-law snuck a look inside later, cupboards torn open, fridge destroyed, furniture shredded. They boarded up the door and fled, leaving trash behind. The place looked like a war zone. Later, my sister found out that Kevin and Karen had just been renting for the season. The actual cabin owner lived out of state and had no idea what had been happening. Once he saw the damage and found out about the citations and bear incident, he sued them for property destruction. Oh, and the Wildlife Authority fined them for illegal bear baiting? Because yes, leaving out unsecured trash that attracts dangerous animals is a big deal. Their whole summer of chaos ended in one gloriously karmic bear break-in. As my sister put it, justice was served by a bear I now call Karma. Gosh, I really love reading stories like this. It's always a good feeling watching true a-holes get their just desserts. Never mess with Mother Nature. Her payback's a B, or in this case, bear. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.